What if I told you that the solution to your most complex, stressful, and infuriating problems is not to think harder, but to think less? That the path to intellectual superiority isn't paved with more information, but with the ruthless subtraction of it? This sounds like a paradox. Our world screams at you to do more, learn more, analyze more, and yet 99% of men are mentally cluttered, emotionally reactive, and strategically lost precisely because they follow this advice. They are drowning in noise. In this session, we are not adding another complex system to your life. We are installing a single powerful filter, one thought that the Stoics mastered 2,000 years ago, and which a fraction of elite men use today to maintain absolute clarity and calm command in the face of chaos. This is not a history lesson. This is an upgrade to your mental operating system. Before we begin, I want you to write one thing in the comments. What is the single biggest thing that complicates your mind right now? Acknowledge it, because by the end of our time here, you will have the tool to dissolve it. Let's be honest about the modern battlefield. It's not fought with swords and shields, but with notifications, deadlines, social pressures, and an endless stream of information designed to hijack your focus. The modern man is pulled in 1,000 different directions every single day. He is expected to be a career machine, a perfect partner, physically fit, and emotionally available, all while navigating a world that is more uncertain and volatile than ever before. The result is a chronic state of low-grade anxiety, a feeling of being constantly behind, a mind that never, ever shuts off. You lie awake at 3 a.m., replaying the conversation, worrying about a project, or stressing about the future. You are fighting a war on too many fronts. Your mistake is thinking you need a better strategy for fighting all of them. You search for another productivity app, another biohack, another book that promises the secret. But all you are doing is adding more weapons to a battle you shouldn't be fighting in the first place. You are trying to control the storm. The fundamental flaw in your approach is not a lack of effort, but a misapplication of it. You are pouring your most valuable resource, your mental energy, into a black hole. Today, we seal that black hole permanently. The architect and the weather. Imagine you are an architect building a skyscraper. You have meticulous control over the blueprints. You can specify the exact grade of steel, the precise thickness of the concrete, the layout of every single floor. You can hire the best team, manage the schedule, and ensure the quality of the work. This is your domain. This is your circle of power. Now imagine a hurricane forms 1,000 miles out to sea and heads directly for your construction site. Do you stand on the foundation and scream at the sky? Do you curse the wind? Do you try to negotiate with the rain? A child would. A man of clarity does not. He accepts the weather is outside of his control. He focuses entirely on what he can control, reinforcing the structure, securing the materials, and ensuring his team is safe. His energy is not wasted on the uncontrollable storm, but invested in the resilience of his creation. This metaphor is the key to everything. The dichotomy of control. The Stoics gave this concept a simple, powerful name: the dichotomy of control. It is the most important, and perhaps the only, mental model you will ever need. It states that in this universe, there are only two categories of things, those within your complete control and those outside of it. That's it. There is no third category. The things within your control are your judgments, your opinions, your actions, your responses, and the effort you choose to exert. The things outside your control are, well, everything else. The economy, the weather, traffic, what other people think of you, whether you get that promotion, whether she texts you back, your genetics, the past. The source of all human misery, anxiety, and frustration is the failure to distinguish between these two categories. It is trying to architect the weather. The great deception of influence. Now, the modern analytical mind will immediately raise an objection. It will say, but wait, there's a third category. There are things I can influence. This is a trap. It's a subtle, seductive lie that keeps you chained to anxiety. You believe you can influence your boss's decision for the promotion. You believe you can influence your partner's mood. And so, you pour your energy into the outcome. You obsess over it. But the Stoic truth is this: you cannot control or even truly influence the outcome. You can only control the inputs. You can control the quality of your work. You can control the clarity of your communication. You can control your own actions. The moment your focus shifts from your action to their reaction, you have given your power away. You have stepped out of the architect's office and into the storm. Your inner citadel, the only territory you rule. Let's make this intensely practical. Your mind is a kingdom. Within this kingdom, there is a central fortress, a citadel. Inside this citadel are your choices, your will, your principles. This is the only territory you have absolute sovereignty over. Everything outside the walls of that citadel, other people's opinions, external events, even your own initial emotional reactions, is foreign territory. A man who is easily angered, easily frustrated, easily distracted, has left the gates of his citadel wide open. He allows foreign armies to march in and dictate his inner state. The strong man, the stoic man, keeps his gates sealed. He observes the chaos outside. He analyzes it, but he does not allow it to breach his walls. He knows that his power, his peace, and his clarity reside exclusively within that citadel. The 5-minute mental reset. This is where the promise of the title becomes reality. This is the one thought that returns clarity. In any moment of stress, confusion, or overwhelm, you stop. You breathe and you ask the question, is this thing that is disturbing me within my direct and complete control? The answer is always a simple yes or no. There is no maybe. Is the opinion of your colleague in your control? No. Is the quality of the report you're about to submit in your control? Yes. Is the traffic jam in your control? No. Is your choice to listen to an audiobook instead of raging at the wheel in your control? Yes. Is the past mistake that haunts you in your control? No. Is your decision to learn from it and not repeat it in your control? Yes. This simple, binary sorting process is the blade that cuts through complexity. It instantly reveals where your energy should be focused. Applying the blade to your emotions. This is a critical point that most people misunderstand. They think Stoicism is about suppressing emotion. That is a caricature for the weak. Stoicism is about recognizing that your initial emotional spark is not in your control. It's an external event like the weather. The feeling of anger that flashes when someone cuts you off in traffic. That's the spark. It's outside your control. But the fire, the choice to dwell on that anger, to let it ruin your mood, to tailgate the other driver, that is 100% within your control. The Stoic man acknowledges the spark. He observes it without judgment, and he chooses not to pour fuel on it. He lets it die out. This is not suppression. It is emotional discipline. It is refusing to let an external event become an internal master. The tyranny of outcome. We live in a society obsessed with outcomes, results, the final score. This is a recipe for mental slavery. If your sense of well-being is tied to whether you win the contract, get the girl, or hit a certain number in your bank account, you are fundamentally fragile. You have made your happiness dependent on things outside your control. The Stoic and the truly powerful man detaches from the outcome and attaches to the process. His pride is not in the victory, but in knowing he gave his absolute best effort. His satisfaction comes from the quality of his actions, which are in his control, not from the applause of the crowd, which is not. This shift is profound. It makes you anti-fragile. If you win, it's a bonus. If you lose, you have lost nothing of value, because your self-worth was never on the table. The freedom of amor fati. Let's elevate this concept. Once you master the dichotomy of control, you can access a higher level of operation. The Stoics called it amor fati. a love of fate. This doesn't mean being passive. It means actively embracing reality exactly as it is. It means seeing every obstacle, every setback, every uncontrollable event, not as a problem, but as the raw material for you to practice virtue. The project was cancelled, an opportunity to practice adaptability. You were betrayed, an opportunity to practice forgiveness and resilience. The economy collapses, an opportunity to practice frugality and creativity. The man who practices amor fati cannot be harmed, because everything that happens, good or bad, serves his purpose. It becomes fuel for his inner fire. He doesn't just tolerate the storm, he learns to dance in the rain. The case of the unfair boss. Let's make this concrete. You have a boss who is unfair. He micromanages, takes credit for your work, and communicates poorly. The average man obsesses over what he cannot control: the boss's personality, his decisions, his mood. He complains, he gossips, he becomes bitter. His focus is external. The Stoic man applies the dichotomy of control. He asks, what is in my power here? He cannot control his boss, but he can control the quality of his own work, documenting his contributions, managing his own emotional response to the unfairness, communicating clearly and professionally, and exploring his options, whether that means seeking a transfer, looking for a new job, or building skills that make him independent. He focuses all his energy on his own actions, not the boss's flaws. One man becomes a victim, the other becomes a strategist. Relationships and the other's mind. This is perhaps the hardest area for men to apply this principle. You cannot control your partner's feelings, thoughts, or actions. You can only control your own. Trying to force them to see your point of view, to feel a certain way, or to act as you wish, is a direct path to conflict and misery. It is the ultimate attempt to control the uncontrollable. The Stoic approach is to focus 100% on being the best partner you can be. Are you communicating with respect? Are you listening? Are you living by your values? Are you a man of integrity? You present your best self, your best actions, and then you accept their response, whatever it may be. This is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength and respect for both yourself and for them. It gives them the freedom to be who they are, and it frees you from the anxiety of trying to control them. The fallacy of worrying. Worry is the mental habit of trying to control the future. The future is, by definition, outside of your control. Therefore, worry is a complete and total waste of your cognitive resources. It is the equivalent of paying interest on a debt you may never even owe. When you find yourself worrying, apply the blade. Is this future event I'm agonizing over within my direct control? The answer is always no. What actions can I take right now that are in my control to prepare for potential outcomes? This is the productive question. It shifts you from passive, anxious contemplation to active, focused preparation. Don't worry about the presentation next week. Focus on the single slide you can build right now. Physical training as a mental laboratory. The gym, or any form of rigorous physical discipline, is the perfect training ground for this principle. You walk up to the barbell. You cannot control gravity. You cannot control your genetics or how your muscles will respond in the long term. You can only control one thing: the effort you put into this next repetition. You control your form. You control your breathing. You control the decision to push through the discomfort. Every single rep is a chance to practice focusing only on what is in your power. When you train your body this way, you are simultaneously training your mind to ignore the uncontrollable and concentrate all its force on the present, controllable action. The strength you build is not just physical, it is metaphysical. Dealing with insults and opinions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." Someone's opinion of you is information. It is data. It is not truth, and it is entirely outside of your control. You cannot reach into their mind and change their judgment. The emotionally fragile man tries to. He argues, he defends his ego, he seethes with resentment, He has allowed an external event, someone else's words, to breach his inner citadel. The Stoic man hears the opinion. He asks, is there any truth here I can learn from? If yes, he absorbs the lesson without ego. If no, he discards it like junk mail. Their opinion has no power over him because he has chosen not to grant it any. His self-worth comes from his own actions, not from external validation. The power of negative visualization. This may sound counterintuitive, but it's a powerful Stoic tool for reinforcing the dichotomy of control. Periodically, take a moment to imagine losing the things you value that are outside your control. Imagine your business fails. Imagine you lose your job. Imagine a relationship ends. This is not about morbid pessimism. It is about mentally rehearsing your response to adversity. By contemplating these scenarios, you do two things. First, you increase your gratitude for what you have right now. Second, you remind yourself that your true self, your inner citadel, would remain intact even if these external things were lost. You can lose your job, but you cannot lose your character. You can lose a possession, but you cannot lose your virtue. It is a drill for the soul, preparing you for the storms of life. The myth of I'll be happy when. This is a trap that 99% of people fall into. I'll be happy when I get the promotion. I'll be happy when I'm in a relationship. I'll be happy when I make X amount of money. Each of these statements outsources your happiness to an external condition that is not fully in your control. It is a recipe for perpetual dissatisfaction. The Stoic path to contentment is internal. It is finding satisfaction in a job well done, regardless of the reward. It is finding peace in your own character, regardless of your relationship status. It is building an inner state of well-being that is independent of external circumstances. True freedom is not having what you want, but wanting what you have, and focusing your desire only on what is in your power to attain: wisdom, courage, and integrity. Action, not apathy. A common and lazy critique of this philosophy is that it leads to passivity. If you only focus on what you can control, you'll never try to change anything. This is a fundamental misunderstanding. The dichotomy of control is not a tool for apathy. It is the ultimate tool for strategic action. It prevents you from wasting a single joule of energy on things that cannot be changed, so that you can apply 100% of your power to the things that can. It doesn't mean you don't try to win the contract. It means you focus entirely on building the best possible proposal and presentation, and you don't waste a second worrying about the whims of the selection committee. It is the difference between a panicked soldier firing his rifle randomly in all directions and a sniper calmly focusing all his attention on the one shot that matters. The information diet. In our modern world, your attention is the most valuable commodity. The news, social media, and endless content streams are designed to provoke an emotional response about things you cannot control. A political scandal, 1,000 miles away, a celebrity argument, a market fluctuation triggered by a tweet. Engaging with this emotionally is pure poison. Use the dichotomy of control as a filter for your information intake. Before you consume a piece of content, ask, does this concern something within my control? Will this knowledge help me take better action? If the answer is no, it is mental junk food. A man who wants clarity must be ruthless about his diet, and that includes what he feeds his mind. He chooses to be uninformed about the irrelevant so he can be deeply informed about the essential. The ultimate competitive advantage. In business, in sports, in any competitive field, most people are defeated by their own minds long before they are defeated by an opponent. They are crippled by fear of failure, distracted by the opponent's reputation, and obsessed with the outcome. The man who has mastered this one Stoic thought is immune to this. He is playing a different game. While others are focused on the storm, he is focused on his ship. He is calm under pressure, because the pressure comes from external factors he has already dismissed as irrelevant. He is resilient in the face of setbacks, because his self-worth isn't tied to the outcome. This mental clarity, this unshakable internal stability, is the ultimate unfair advantage. It allows you to perform at your peak when others are crumbling. Redefining strength. Society has sold you a flawed definition of strength. It is often portrayed as aggression, dominance, or the ability to impose your will on the world. This is the strength of a brute. It is fragile and depends on external validation. True, unshakable strength is internal. It is the ability to master your own mind. It is the discipline to control your own responses. It is the wisdom to know where to apply your power and where to conserve it. It is the quiet, calm confidence of the man who has fortified his inner citadel and knows that nothing outside its walls can truly harm him. This is the strength that endures. This is the strength that commands, not through force, but through presence. This is the strength we are cultivating here. The simplicity of the master. As you integrate this principle, your life will not become empty. It will become focused. You will stop overcomplicating, overanalyzing, and overthinking. Your decision-making will become faster and more effective. You will ask the one question, is this in my control? And the path forward will become clear. You will either act with 100% of your focus, or you will consciously and calmly let it go. There is no wasted motion, no wasted energy, no wasted thought. This is the elegance of the master. It is the simplicity on the other side of complexity. It is not an idea you simply know. It is a tool you must use. Every day, every hour, every time you feel the pull of anxiety or frustration, you bring yourself back to this one thought. This is the practice. This is the path to clarity. So we return to where we began. The solution to complexity is not a more complex answer. It is a simpler question. Is this within my control? This is the master key. This one thought, when applied with discipline, collapses the noise of the modern world into a simple binary choice: act or accept. There is no third option. Your power is not in controlling the world, but in mastering your response to it. That is the only game you need to win, because it's the only game you truly can win. This is not a passive philosophy. It is a declaration of war on everything that makes you weak, distracted, and reactive. It is the strategic redirection of 100% of your energy to the battlefield where you are sovereign, the one inside your own skull. Do not just understand this, practice it. Make it the operating system of your mind. Thank you for investing your most valuable asset, your time, with me today. If this session provided you with value, subscribe and join a community of men dedicated to building unshakable inner strength. Your engagement fuels this mission. Now, I want you to go back to the comment you left at the beginning. Look at that source of complexity. With the tool you now possess, what is the very first controllable action you will take? Or will you choose to release it entirely? Share your decision below.